Hey everybody, I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I wanted to take a little bit of time to give you some updates and just lay out kind of a vision of where vlogging through history and this community are headed. You may have noticed we are closing in on 400,000 subscribers on the channel. We will have done that in less than 3 years since I started making regular content for this channel, which is way above and beyond anything I ever expected from this channel. And I said back when this all started and we were at 10, 20,000 subscribers, I said I want this always to be about community first. And I knew that as the channel continued to grow, that would become more and more of a challenge for me. As far as keeping that sense of community, keeping connected to you, the incredibly valued part of that community, some of whom have been around since there were just a couple of hundred subscribers on this channel, and I am so incredibly grateful for your support. But the growth of the channel and my vision for the channel necessitate that we have to deal with the growing pains and adjust and do things a little differently than I did when I had 10 or 20,000 or even 100,000 subscribers. And that's what I want to bring you in on, is I want to talk to you a little bit about where we're headed and about how we're going to keep that sense of community and about how you can be a part of it. Now, I'll be honest with you that I'm a little uncomfortable about the nature of this video that I'm making because it means talking about some things that I'm uncomfortable talking about, honestly. But for the first time, first of all, I should point out that when you watch a vlogging through history video, you're watching work that is pretty much done by me. I mean, obviously with the reaction videos, there's work that has been done by the original content creators, but I mean on my end, whether it's my reaction videos or it's my historic site videos or anything else that I do, it's me, right? It's me sitting in a studio in a bedroom of a house and making videos. It's me editing myself. It's me doing the research myself. Sometimes a ton of research into some of the historic site videos that I do. And the reason I don't do more historic site videos, I've got a lot of recorded content. I just can't stay on top of the editing, for example, and still do everything else I want to do and still be a dad and still do all the things that I'd like to be able to do in my life. So, what I've decided to do is, for the very first time, bring in some help to make this happen. A lot of channels my size have sometimes multiple employees, editors and writers and those sorts of things. I don't have any of that, but that's about to change. So for the first time, I've brought someone on my team, and his name's Ian, and Ian's actually taking over responsibility for helping guide the let's say the fundraising aspect of this in terms of Patreon. And it was actually Ian's direction that led to this video to share with you some of the vision. I'm actually looking at a list of suggestions that he made for this video. Ian's going to be helping me to focus better on our patrons and our members. By giving me some direction. You may have already noticed, if you're on Patreon, there have been some updates to some of the rewards that are available on Patreon. You're going to notice things like me giving shout outs to patrons at the beginning and end of videos, things like that. That's all on there. So that's part of what he has suggested to me. But in addition to that, he really encouraged me to share my vision for this channel. Because Ian's not going to be the last member of the team. I'm also looking at bringing in some help for editing, especially my historic site videos, but also some new stuff that I want to do that I will talk about in just a minute. And also just some help on the, let's say, public relations side of things. I get dozens of personal emails every single day. I get hundreds, very often thousands of comments on videos every day. I get quite a few messages on Patreon every single day. In order for me to continue making content and to continue doing the things that I'm doing and do some of the stuff that I'm going to share with you that I'm dreaming about doing, it means I just don't have time to do all of that anymore. So I want to bring on someone who's going to help me with the emails, with the sponsorship offers that I get, with staying on top of the comments and making sure, because a lot of times the emails, there's a lot of junk in there too that has to be sifted through, and I just can't stay on top of responding to that stuff the way I'd like to. So somebody to help me with all of that. It doesn't mean it's going to be less personal. I'm still going to see every personal message. I'm still going to have the opportunity to respond to those messages, but I just can't filter all of that on my own. I can't deal with all the comments on my own the way I'd like to. I also can't take the time to do some of the research and things that I'd like to do. Basically, what it means is the costs are going up for this channel. I've been able to do this pretty well full time and make not a ton of money. I'm not making a lot of money, but make enough to make this a full-time thing for me while I'm still also doing some other full-time things like my church ministry and my work with Rachel's Challenge. But that's obviously going to change. So we're going to have to find some new sources of revenue to help me to do the things I want to do. So with that in mind, in the next week or two, we're going to be making a real push to get some new folks on board, particularly on Patreon, because Patreon is going to be the primary way through which we are going to fund these additional members of my team. And I'm going to tell you what that's going to free me up to do. But we're looking to raise about $2,000 a month in Patreon revenue. Right now we have about 500 patrons. The vast majority are at $3 a month or $5 a month, and I'm grateful for every single one of you. And we continue to hope for more folks who are able to do that. But there are also some higher tiers as well, and I'll put the link down in the description for all of that. We'd like to try in the next week and raise an additional $2,000 a month in Patreon revenue. So what does that mean for you as a member of this community? What is that going to allow us to do that we're not doing now? Well, number one, it's going to allow me to do more of what I've always intended for this channel to be, which is more historic site content, more original content. And I don't just mean things like going to France and making videos at the Somme battlefield, which you're going to be seeing a new episode of here real soon. It also means that I'm going to be able to, here in my studio, do more original content. I want to go back and revisit the series that I did a couple parts to several years ago on Reconstruction and redo that, but do it right. I want to do some videos on some topics that I haven't been able to talk about before. Do some more original stuff from right here in the studio that I've dreamed of doing, but I've never had the time to be able to sit down and write a script and prepare the editing and do all the stuff that would be involved in that and continue to have the daily content that we've had on the channel. So I need help with that. That's where the editors come in. That's where people to help me with the administration comes in, because then that frees me to have more time to do that research and do that writing. I also have some really big dreams of some things I want to do. I'm in the process of right now of working on what's going to be more than 50 videos, an entire series where I'm going to do step-by-step videos on every single brigade that fought at the Battle of Gettysburg and do their history, talk about that specific brigade, show where they fought. It may be a separate channel, or it may just be something I do here on this channel. Some of you have heard me talk about it. I want to go and do an entire series talking about every one of the Red Baron's 80 aerial victories in detail, talk about the circumstances of each one of those, tell the story of the men who were involved, those kinds of things. These are things that I can't do right now. I just don't have the time to do. I'm working on a book on the 20th Ohio Infantry, and in conjunction with that, I want to do a video series where I'm going to actually drive everywhere that they went in their 4 years in the war and tell their story. Those are the kinds of things I want to do. I have some videos on presidential history that I want to do. All of that is only going to be possible if we can make these goals a reality. So as I'm looking at my notes from Ian, just making sure I'm covering everything, once we have that support staff, and these aren't full-time employees that I'm looking at hiring next week or anything like that, but once we have those folks in place, that allows me then to have more time for you guys. And what that means is that my intention is to do more opportunities for meetups. We've done a few here and there, and they've been awesome. Had an amazing time meeting up with people in Gettysburg, meeting up with people in Shiloh. I've met people here and there over in Europe at different times. I want to do those much more often. I want to do some local ones like in Pittsburgh and in Northeast Ohio. I want to do more tours. I've got the tours coming up. In October, we're going to be in Germany and Austria, and we've still got 4 spots available for that tour. We've got a tour coming up next April in Italy, and we've got 7 spots available for that tour. I just flashed 6 up, 7. We're going to do more of those tours, but we're going to do some here in the States as well that are going to be much less costly. I want to do more and more of that, so I want to shift spending so much time on administration and editing and more time on you guys, giving you more interesting and creative content, and also spending more time with you in person, doing things. I've got some other really exciting things coming up. Many of you have heard me talk about Project X, which I'll at least tell you this. It is a TV documentary, a 4-hour TV documentary that's going to be on a major network that I am involved in, and you're going to see me in. That's all I can really say right now. But that's the first of several things like that that are coming. But all of that requires your help. And as I mentioned at the beginning that I was uncomfortable talking about this, it's because I'm uncomfortable asking people for money. And I know that's what this is. And if we can get to the place where the channel is self-sufficient and can handle that stuff, and I don't need to be asking people to sign up on Patreon, that will be awesome. And I don't want you to get the wrong impression either that I only care about people who are patrons and members. That is not the case. Every single person who subscribes, who watches videos, who comments, you matter. And you are a valued part of this community. And I recognize that many people are not in a position to be able to support a channel financially. And I don't have any issue with you being one of those people. Or you just don't, on principle, believe in doing that kind of thing. And that's totally fine too. I get it. I really do. And I continue to be grateful for our community, regardless of what level of involvement you have. But if you are able to help with this, and you are able to help us meet that goal that we're going to try to get in the next week. And you're going to hear a lot about it in other videos, so please bear with me as I mention this more often in the coming days. I just say in advance, thank you. Thank you. This channel exists because of your generosity with your time, with your resources, with your interest, and I am a better historian because of all of you and the incredible things I've learned from our community. And I hope you've learned a few things from me along the way. And I look forward to some of the new ways that I'll be able to share history with you in the future. Check out the link down below in the description for Patreon. You can read all about the rewards and the perks that are available as a small way of saying thank you to you for being a part of the team. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.